terms of the agenda for tonight, we'll review a little bit about the graduation requirements. So I'll explain a little bit about the course requirements for rising 11th grade students, talk a little bit about timeline, and then also making course requests in student view. Because we have already met with most students, we've helped the students enter on the courses. And if we need to make revisions later on, your child can work with their counselor on that. And so in terms of the graduation requirement, just quickly want to highlight some important courses. All right, so this will be the class of 2024. And all students will be enrolled in an 11th grade English class. That would be either Honors English 11 or AP Lang or AP Language. If they need an art credit, recommend everyone to sign up for that to make sure they have flexibility for their senior year. This is actually supposed to be one full credit of health. It is Honors Health A and Honors Health B. So for students who took Health A over the summer, I have several students who chose to do that, and we recommend that health be taken as part of their schedule in 11th grade. It will not be offered this upcoming summer. I know that was a plan for a lot of students, so something to keep in mind. If you have questions, talk with their counselor and we can help guide you through that. Everyone should be registering for the next sequential math credits. All right. So if you have questions about what math class my child should be taking, as counselors, we can help guide you on that process. Again, PE is another full year of credit, so make sure we get that credit taken care of. And then we have, most students will take physics their junior year. Now they could also take an AP science class, and that will also satisfy the NGSS requirements. Most students will be registering for an honors or AP world history credit. That'll be for 11th grade. And then technology, again, we can take care of that elective requirements. And then we have, these are the program completers. We remind everyone every year, most students will do 2 credits of a world language. So within that sequential order, if we're on level 1, I recommend everyone take level 2. And if you want to start a new language, certainly that is an option. Okay, just a quick reminder that all students should be completing 75 SSL hours. That is the minimum for graduation. And then we have the high school assessments. Most students have already completed Algebra 1, English and Government. So I think the science would be the remaining. If they haven't already taken it, do not worry. We have a roster of students that we test every 3 times during the school year. So this upcoming season in the spring, if your child's name is on that roster, we will have them complete the high school assessment. All right. Going back to the presentation here. Okay. In terms of the timeline, all this has happened prior to winter break. So where we are now is the webinar for today, and then upcoming some information if you want to look at for yourself would be the dual enrollment information session. If your child is interested in taking a dual enrollment class as part of their schedule next year, explore that option, talk it over with their counselor. We can help guide and plan for including that as part of the schedule. Okay. All right. So when picking classes, we are always stressing, balance is key. 11th grade is one of the most challenging years, I think, for our students. It's also one of the stressful years before they apply for colleges or prepare for post-graduation plans. And so, yes, there are some required classes. We also encourage your children to select courses they're interested in, and some fun activities include, some electives to help balance out the workload. So that way they're not too stressed out. And at the same time, we as counselors will be helping your child and making sure they meet all the course requirements so that they graduate on time by their senior year. So here's a little screenshot of, step by step of how to select courses. All of this is done through Student View. So have your child go into their Student View account, and on the left side, there should be a tab labeled course requests. And when they click on that, a table will pop out and they can add courses, they can remove courses, and then it does save their selections. So for most of the children that we've met with, the courses are already on there. You can see that this evening if you, or later on this week, if you wanted to see what courses have been selected. If we need to make any changes, we're encouraging students to come speak with their counselor so we can help update the course requests. We also have a video that Ms. Markowitz have included hyperlinked up here. So definitely look at that at your own time. And so these are all the numbers. Again, it's a different step-by-step process, but same idea that you can search for courses, you can add them and make sure that we have a total of 7 classes. And make sure that they have semester A and semester B courses. All right. And any information that you need, please visit our counseling website and watch the videos, go through the presentation again. If you have questions, please reach out to your counselor. We're happy to help and guide you and your child in planning for the 11th grade year. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we are going to hear from Mr. Michael Thompson, who is head of our science department.
Greetings, everybody. It is great to be with you tonight. Sorry about that, everybody. I wanted to quickly point out to you the options for 11th grade. Hopefully, most of you have, or most students have already taken biology and chemistry at this point. That meets 2 of the 3 state requirements for graduation. These are the Montgomery County courses that count towards graduation. So you could see biology any level, chemistry any level count. As Ms. Huang-Utter said, most people will then be choosing between honors physics or astronomy with physics. That would complete the standard sequence. But it is important to point out that any of our AP courses would also complete the sequence. And so if you're choosing physics, the choice would actually be honors physics, astronomy with physics, or AP Physics 1. So astronomy with physics is a non-honors option for those students who have the interest in astronomy, but would also appreciate a course with a little bit less math. Honors physics is, of course, the honors option. That is the standard MCPS course for physics. It is taught with just exposure to all the major topics of physics in mind. The math is not as intense as it would be in an AP course. But it's a good preparation, or if that's the only physics course a student's going to take in high school, it's going to be good exposure to all the major topics. On the other hand, if a student would like to pursue higher level sciences, especially engineering, then they would be looking to take AP Physics 1 to complete that 3rd credit in science. But I will point out once again, any of the AP course options would satisfy the Maryland state requirement for 3 graduation courses, or would satisfy that 3rd course. So it's almost like once students have completed biology and chemistry, our whole course catalog opens up to them. So 11th graders would need to make sure they get their 3rd requirement, but it is not uncommon for students to opt for 2 science courses in that 11th grade year. As long as they are signing up for a 3rd course that meets graduation requirements, they can begin to select the science electives. These courses are really tailored towards students' interest or what they might want to pursue in college. These do not satisfy graduation requirements, so they would only be taken as a 4th, 5th, or 6th science course during the 4 years. But we have excellent options for students interested in biomedical engineering. There's molecular biology for students in any kind of medical field, doctors, nursing, physical therapy, sports training. They would want to take anatomy and physiology. Honors nutrition science could, of course, lead to a career in nutritional science, but also it's just a really good, healthy thing for all students to learn. Forensic science is a good interdisciplinary course combining biology, chemistry, and physics. done with case studies and actual crimes. And then there are internships, but we would probably recommend for most students they wait till senior year for internships. Hopefully you're familiar with the AP program. You know, those courses are ways to earn AP credit or college credit while still in high school. But I think more importantly, they really do help prepare students for college level science, whether it's going to be in a life science, physical science, or AP biology, AP chemistry, AP Physics C, as taken as a second year physics course, all excellent options. The ones that say DP, those are double period courses. They would take up 2 of those 7 slots that you are registering for. So that's biology and chemistry. Those are taught as sequential periods, meaning if you're in period 1, you're also in period 2, and you don't leave in between periods. AP Physics C has both a single period and a double period option. And the double period is a little more flexible in that you could take 1 period, period 2, and come back period 7 for your second period. So those would be the main options that you would have. I do like to point out that students still have the option of getting into our Science Capstone Plus program if they were to sign up for AP Seminar right now for next year, because the Science Capstone Plus requires the 2-year course sequence of AP Seminar and AP Research, along with 4 other AP courses. So some students are already in that. Some 10th graders are in AP Seminar right now. They're ready to take AP Research next year, but current 10th graders would have the option of signing up for that and joining this program. More information about Science Capstone Plus is found on the course bulletin. If you look right at the homepage, there's a link here where you can find more information about that program. I've been getting a lot of great emails. We had a meeting last week with rising 9th grade parents, and throughout this week, people have sent me excellent questions via email. So I invite you all to do the same. My email address is also accessible on here. If you click here, you're going to get my email, and it's sprinkled throughout. But if you have any questions about particular course sequences, feel free to ask. And I say that because I presented kind of a standard sequence, biology, chemistry, physics, but a large proportion of our students chart their own path. They pick a unique pathway, and I like to help guide them along that way and help everybody, all families, make great choices. So I'm here for you, but I will sign off for right now unless there are any big questions in the Q&A that I could answer live. But otherwise, I'll try to make sure those questions do get answered or look for your emails as follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. As of right now, we do not have any questions in the Q&A. Well, actually, one just dropped in that we will make sure we get to and answer. We are going to have Mr. Zach Lowe, who is head of our English department. He is going to present next.
Good evening, everybody. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you real quick. Okay. All right. Sorry, just a second. There we are. Okay, good evening. I'm going to talk with you quickly about what your student can expect going into 11th grade, as well as some of the choices afforded to rising 11th graders. It's really the first year that students get a choice in their English classes about diverging paths that they might be on. And I want to make sure that everybody understands those options. So as you probably know, in MCPS, students need an English course for all 4 years. They have already taken Honors 9 and Honors 10, and this is the first year where they get to choose between an honors course or an AP course. So I'd like to speak a little bit about what you can expect between these 2 courses.
Mr. Lowe, we are seeing your email and not your presentation.
I'm sorry, hang on just a moment.
Okay.
That's bizarre. Hang on a second. How about now?
We're waiting for it to load.
Okay, this is, I'm not sure why it, sorry, just a second.
It's okay.
Are we seeing it now?
You're good.
Okay. Sorry
Thank
about that,
you.
everybody. Little rusty on the Zoom. Okay, so picking up where I left off. First, I want to talk just a bit about honors. Honors 11 is largely going to be a similar experience to what students did in 9th and 10th grade. Times they won't, particularly because in 11th grade, there is that focus on nonfiction texts. They focus on a lot of shorter texts with a more changeover, I would say. So they're seeing a lot of different things rather than spending a lot of time in one text that they're going back to over and over. The writing tasks for 11th grade are focused on experience with narratives, with analysis, and again, getting into that sense of argument, rhetoric, and synthesis that are the expanded skills for 11th grade. That is true in both honors and AP Lang. So our AP Lang students are taking a course that is also really structured around the study of rhetoric and how writers make powerful arguments. So it's going to be a course that's preparing students for the AP Lang exam. The course focuses on more nonfiction than fiction. It doesn't mean that they won't read any fiction, but largely the focus again is going to be on rhetoric. That class has frequent in-class writings, multiple choice practice to prep them for the exam. They get exposed to the different types of writing prompts that they will have to do on the exam, along with a focus on frequent in-class writing so that they have that practice with what that's going to feel like when they're asked to perform on the exam. A lot of students and parents have questions about, well, should I take honors 11 or should I take AP Lang? So one of the things that's really nice about the progression in English is that if your student feels most comfortable sticking with an honors class, first of all, they're going to be exposed to a lot of similar material. So it's not like they're missing out. And then they would also have the choice to take AP Lang as a senior if after 11th grade they feel ready for that challenge. So, there's a few different possible options for whichever way they want to go. The other thing, based on, the student's interest, some students just aren't really compelled by what is offered in AP Lang. And they would be able to take AP Lit as a senior, even if they have not taken AP Lang. And I know that that's been kind of a misunderstood transition over the last few years, where students, I think, largely felt, well, if I didn't take AP Lang, I can't take AP Lit. That is not the case. So in their senior year, they would end up being able to choose between AP Lang, AP Lit, or Honors 12. Some students take AP Lang and then go back to Honors just, as a matter of making sure that their schedule fits with their needs. If you are having that conversation, is AP Lang right for your student, or is your student thinking, is it right for them? I really think it's going to be a matter of how many other AP courses they're taking, how well they feel they can keep up with more writing, because there's going to be more writing in AP Lang, so more assessment. And if they feel prepared to take that sort of an exam at the end of the year. If you have questions about that of a more individual nature, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk to you or your student about the differences between those courses. There are a few English electives. These are open to students. These are all mostly can satisfy a half-year credit. A few of them will do full year, like journalism and yearbook, but don't have to be. So if your student does have some space in their schedule and they are creative and interested in writing or working on long-form projects, these are some of the options that are available to them. Again, my name is Mr. Lowe, and if you have any other questions, please let me know. You're welcome to reach out. It's good to be here with you tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Next, we have Mr. Paul Turner. I was going to call you James, Mr. James Paul Turner. And he is going to speak to us tonight about our CTE and technology courses that are offered to your rising 11th grade children. You're muted, Mr. Turner.
I just did all the good stuff. So my name is Mr. Turner. I'm here to talk tonight about a whole bunch of different course offerings available both in the comp sci section of our department and also the career area as well. I want to start with this slide right here, though. This is probably the most important slide of the night. Your student is required to complete a full year of technology education prior to graduating high school. At Wootton High School, we offer 2 different courses that satisfy that, either Foundations of Computer Science or AP Computer Science Principles. If your child has not completed any of those 2 courses yet, we still have a little bit more time left, either next year or the year after that, but it's time to start thinking about when that course is going to be taken and completed. Foundations of Computer Science is also offered in 8th grade, so it is possible that your child already took it in middle school. So you should check your transcript or reach out to your counselor just to make sure that that's been satisfied. FOCS is also offered over the summer online. That's through student online learning through MCPS. That's not offered directly through Wootton, but if you need more information about that, I can point you in the right direction. We have a variety of different computer science and information technology courses that don't require any prerequisites or any prior knowledge whatsoever. CS has been a field that's been exploding over the past 15 plus years. It's permeated in all facets of society and business, and really these courses also develop your child's critical thinking and problem solving skills. So if there is room in the schedule, and maybe there's been thought about taking one of these types of courses, you should really consider it. So I'm just kind of going to go through a quick outline of what to expect in each of those classes. And again, none of these classes require any prior knowledge whatsoever. The first course, IT Essentials. This is a course where students will learn all the ins and outs of how a computer works, every component of a computer. They'll eventually build a computer from the ground up in our hands-on lab. This also prepares them to successfully complete the CompTIA A+ certification exam, which is one of the most recognized certifications in the industry. We also offer Introduction to Networks. This is where students will learn all about the ins and outs of the internet, all the different layers, how the internet works and interacts together through those layers. By the end of that class, they'll be able to construct a basic local area network, which is pretty much critical to the functioning of any workplace environment, school, office, and so forth. There's also, we dabble in cybersecurity in that course as well. Computer Programming 1, again, a class that does not require any prior knowledge or background. This is an advanced level class, meaning it's weighted just like an honors class is. This course is really the first step for anybody who wants to major or minor in computer science. It's also a prereq for our other AP class, AP Computer Programming 2. In that class, in Computer Programming 1, we learn how to declare variables in the high-level language C++. They learn how to create and manipulate if statements and loops, learn how to traverse arrays and matrices. And we just develop a whole bunch of different games and text-based apps, again, to help sharpen and develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. For those who may have more of an artistic flair, we have the web development class. Students will learn how to create web pages using HTML and CSS. They'll learn how to make them look nice and pretty and flashy. They'll learn how to edit and create photos, and they'll even animate a little bit. So again, all those classes, no prereqs whatsoever. I have a lot to go over in this particular presentation, so sorry if I'm sounding a little rushed. And on our career side, we have a 2-year program of study called the College Career Research and Development Program. Over the next 2 years, if your child's interested, they could enroll in CCRD next school year, College Career and Readiness. In that class, they'll ultimately create and develop a career path and plan for post-high school. In that process, also create resumes and cover letters. During their senior year, they would take Career Seminar, which is a full-year course that continues career and college searches and expands their portfolio. They would also enroll in site-based work at the same time, where they would actually leave school early to go and work at a job, and they're required to complete 135 hours of work. If you have any questions about that, since again, I'm going pretty quick, please reach out to Ms. Bro, and there's her email address right there. Ms. Bro also wanted to let you all know about the apprenticeship program, which is kind of a new program that's coming to MCPS. They can enter the workforce while still in high school, earning a salary. They'll eventually receive a state skills certificate as a result of meeting all the state program standards, and they have the opportunity to continue in that career after high school. It's possible that your child is already in one of our courses, like they're already in programming 1, which makes them eligible for computer programming 2, and so on and so forth. So please, discuss that with your child, your counselor, or encourage your child to talk to their current teacher in the CTE department, and we'll point them in the right direction. Also need to mention, we have a few single semester course offerings. Everything I've talked about so far is a full year long course offering. We do offer a single semester course either in personal finance and also in marketing. And again, more information about that is found on our course bulletin. Shifting gears a little bit here, is a requirement for students to take 2 full years of the same world language in order to graduate high school. However, there is an alternative, a substitute. If your child does not want to complete 2 full years of the same language in order to graduate high school, they could instead go through and complete what's called a completer program. And in the CTE department, we have a few different options available that are completer programs. So as I kind of talked a little quick about that career pathway option, it is possible if your child takes CCRD during 11th grade and then doubles up and takes seminar and site-based work, that would satisfy and count as a completer program. And again, then they would not need to complete the 2 years of world language. We also offer something similar for web design and network pathways. So some of those classes I mentioned earlier, if they were to go through a full sequence, again, it'd be 3 total classes over the next 2 years. That is another way for them to substitute and not complete or use 2 years worth of world language. I just did a ton that was super dense. If you have any questions for me, of course, I'll stick around and answer some. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Right now, we do not have any questions for you in the Q&A, but like you said, if you stick around, I'm sure something will pop up. Thank you. Next, we are going to hear from Miss Laura Parsons, who is head of our social studies department.
Thank you, Ms. Levy. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen like I'm sure everybody else has done this evening. I'm going to show you, hopefully, if my computer is working very slowly this evening. So your student who is currently in 10th grade, hopefully has completed 2 of the 3 required classes necessary for graduation from social studies. And there we go. Okay, so hopefully your student has already completed US history and American government, and the only thing they need to complete in terms of graduation requirements in social studies is world history. So in world history, we do offer honors world history and AP world history. Honors world history goes from 1450 to the present. It's a similar workload to honors US history and honors NSL. It's a much slower paced course in that we have the entire year to teach that little bit of history. As opposed to AP World History. AP World History, as you know, is a College Board designated curriculum. So we start teaching world history in 1200 CE, and we go to the present. There is college level text that is expected to be analyzed. There's analysis of primary and secondary documents as well. You'll be looking at things like change and continuity over time. You'll also be working on those social studies thinking skills that you see present not only in the MCPS curriculum, but also in the College Board curriculums as well. There are 3 separate types of essay responses, plus some short essay responses as well for AP World History. There is a faster pace for AP World History. As you know, we have to prepare students for the exam in May. And so usually new material is learned up through or up to spring break. And then after spring break, it's a no holds barred cram session in preparation for the AP exam in May. Now your 11th grade student will have some openings as they have already completed, hopefully, the majority of their graduation requirements. And we do offer lots of social studies electives as well. And this is the grade where a lot of students who may not have tried an AP class start trying one of our AP electives. Usually AP psychology is a go-to for a first-time AP an AP course taker, but we also have AP Human Geography, AP Comparative Government, Art History, Econ, and European History. We also offer lots of electives that are full year courses that are just based on hopefully the love of the content that your student might want to take it. We have law, model UN, and sociology. And then we have some one semester courses as well. LGBTQ studies, which is the new course, new to MCPS. We also have African American history and philosophy as well. All of these course descriptions are available on the website. So I do encourage you to please look over the descriptions, and then please feel free to email me if you have any questions. But you should be okay. So that is it. I, again, am going very quickly this evening. Are there any questions for me?
Right now, we do not have anything in the chat for you. Ms. Parsons, thank you very much. If something does pop up, we will make sure that we get it covered.
I appreciate it.
And now we are going to hear from Mr. Douglas Nelson, our principal.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's great to be with you on the webinar this evening. I appreciate you taking some time after a really busy day to join us for the articulation meeting. And I want to share why I appreciate you taking that time, because we really have some critically important information to share with you at articulation meeting. And we really have just one time per year in which we delve into this specific content about course registration and why it really matters for our students. So thank you for being here. My name is Douglas Nelson. I am principal of Wootton High School. And one thing I would like to do is just center us a little bit around why articulation nights matter and why this information is so important for you and your students. So at Wootton, I do have a vision, and I tried to make this connection to the vision and why a meeting like this has a strong alignment to what we're trying to do with intentionality at Wootton. And my vision is that Wootton is an excellent school where students are challenged each day and they feel that they belong. And the way that we make sure that students are challenged and they have that daily push in which incrementally they are walking into an academic environment in which new knowledge is nurtured and skills are developed, that always ensures that they are making progress and developing further, is you make the right decision about what course to take. And courses really fall kind of into two different arenas, those that are required and those that are selected based on interest. But that selection, regardless, is an important one by way of level and interest. And so our purpose tonight really is as follows. We are providing that information to you all so that then you can be an informed decision maker about what to do next. And making an informed decision we know is the best decision. So we are providing that information to you all this evening, but please know this is not the only time we're going to be sharing information with you. This is just this initial opportunity to get information out to the Wootton community broadly. Two pieces of advice that I really want to impart to all of you. The first being the articulation process. What we know about our teenagers and those at Wootton is that each year, students are becoming more independent. They are growing up and they are carrying additional responsibilities themselves. And, as parents and as teachers, we're always testing that a little bit to make sure that we're seeing that progress in the independence. That does not mean that we want to be fully allowing students to be fully independent and not engaging with this process. I really would encourage you to ask questions, to schedule a time, to find an opportunity to open student view and see what your child is thinking about those selections next year. It shows that you care to ask those questions, and it might just be the right question that prompts additional thinking or for a student to explore something further or in a different way. So engage. They should be independent, but still be there with them. And also know that student interest really matters here. If students want to explore or really take an interest that is theirs in a new direction, we want to do that at high school because students will engage more in their learning when they know it is built upon their interest and something they want to explore. Again, something we want to nurture. So please make sure they are informing some of those decisions because we're going to enrich and add depth to the learning for students. So that is really the advice I wanted to impart to all of you. Please know the Wootton team, which is an amazing group of people, from the counselors to the informed resource teachers that support their department, to the administrators that kind of walk the hallway with your students that are asking all these questions all the time. Please know any member of this team is simply a phone call or an email away, and we will work diligently to get you an answer so that you are very successful in registering for these courses next year. It is a pleasure to be here with you this evening. If I can help you in this process at all, please let me know. And at this point in time, I will turn it back over to Ms. Laby, and I think she knows who's next up for our presentation schedule.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nelson. Next, we have Ms. Rebecca O'Neill, who is going to share information regarding her departments that she supports. So you are going to hear information regarding the visual and performing arts, regarding PE and health, as well as child development.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, I'm going to talk about fine arts, PE, health, and early child development. We are going to start with fine arts. Students need 1 fine arts credit to graduate. That credit can be from either visual or performing arts. As a rising 11th grader, your student may already have their 1 fine art credit. However, we have a lot of options for students to continue on in art, all of which are advanced level or honors. It is the weighted credit. So they can certainly take more than 1 class. We encourage them to come back to us for multiple years, and those would then satisfy some elective credits for them. So for those students who have not taken their art credit yet, here are our visual arts classes as well as their pathways. Any class that is highlighted here in blue is going to be our entry-level art classes. Our Foundations of Art class is going to touch a little bit on everything. It is not concentrated in any one area. Students will be exploring a variety of materials and techniques. We also have our drawing class. We have our Intro to Ceramics and Sculpture class, where students will be working with clay daily to create functional pottery and using the potter's wheel as well as their hands to sculpt their pottery. We have our Fashion and Illustration class, where students will be learning to draw the figure, draw and design clothing, produce those clothing with hand sewing and the machine, and be ready for our fashion show at the end of the year. We also have our advanced painting class and our introduction to photography class. That is our digital photography class. Students are using cell phones and digital cameras. They're working in color, and they're also going to do some basic Photoshop. From there, I think the pathways are pretty self-explanatory on where they can go. Our students are talking with the teachers, though, because there is some flexibility on what they can be taking next. And the teachers are working with the students in class to determine that. We also have this AP Art History class. It's not really part of one of our pathways. Students do need 1 visual art credit, and then they are able to take a AP Art History class. All right. So then we go to our performing arts pathways. We have, again, in teal, our classes that students can go right into. We have chorus 2, that is our traditional chorus. Students are going to be learning and singing a variety of music. They'll perform at the county chorus festivals. This is going to be a class if students are new to chorus or they're still building their skill set. We do also have our chorus 3. This is show choir, singing, dancing, choreography. Students do not have to have taken chorus 2 to go to that class. However, they do need to audition for that class. We also have our chamber singers. This is our a cappella class. It's our most advanced class. Students need to be able to learn music faster, have a higher level of music reading skills. And again, students would need to audition for that class. I'm going to give the audition information on my next slide. We have our band and orchestra classes. If students are either new to band or they are maybe switching instruments and going to be working with a new instrument, then the symphonic band or symphonic orchestra is probably going to be the class for them. Students who are in a current band class, we are asking that they sign up for the class that they are currently in, and then their playing test in March will serve as their audition, and then adjustments will be made once their playing test is complete and they know which level of band they're going to be in. We have our guitar classes. This entry-level guitar class is for students who have never picked up a guitar, as well as students who have some experience. Our teachers are really great with differentiation, meeting the students where they are on their instrument and giving them what they need. We also have our theater pathway. Students in Theater 1 are going to be working on line memorization, stage presence, and being comfortable in front of crowds. They'll be having a variety of performances. We also have our stage design class, where students will be working backstage to design, build, and produce the sets for our theater performances. Students who would continue on with that, I just want to point out that the advanced acting A would be semester 1, and that would be paired with play directing B. And then the same for the second level of that. Stage design is repeatable for credit, so they can keep going with that. We also have 2 classes over here, again, not really in a pathway, but our piano class, as well as our AP Music Theory. And for our AP Music Theory, the students do need 2 music credits to be able to take that class. Again, lots of opportunity to continue in our performing arts pathways, as well as pointing out that all the classes that are starred and bolded are have the weighted credit, their advanced level classes. Here's that audition information. Students will actually sign up for the choral class they would like to be in, even before their audition, and then adjustments will be made if necessary. And that show choir date is March 28th. The chamber singers or the a cappella is that's March 28th. Show choir is March 29th. The time and space hasn't been determined. They will email our choral director, Keith Schwartz, to get the details on that. And then for our band and orchestra classes, again, they sign up for the class that they are currently in. They'll have their playing test in March, and then changes will be made. All right, moving on to PE. Students need 1 PE credit to graduate. Again, they could take more than 1 PE credit. That would serve as an electives credit for them. It would also help to create some of that balance in their schedule, in their day. All of our classes on the right-hand side are 1 semester or half a credit classes. Students could take the same class twice for the full year, both semesters, or they can mix and match. Maybe they want to take 1 semester of net sports and 1 semester of basketball. However they get their credit is fine. We have our net sports, our team sports, basketball, flag football, and soccer. That's all going to have an emphasis on rules, gameplay, technique, skills, and movement of the game. Our lifetime sports class is going to be our less competitive PE class, a little less competitive than your traditional PE class. The units will be on walking, cornhole, bocce, badminton, and pickleball. And then we have our yoga and stretching class and our weight training class. All right, and then we have our health. Students need 1 health credit to graduate. Health A is 1 semester and Health B is 1 semester. Students do have to take Health A before they can take Health B. Students may have taken this in this past year. If they haven't, 11th grade is probably a good year to take health. You do not probably want to wait till senior year to take your health. I have gotten quite a few emails about online health through summer school. Health A is offered this summer. So if your students need to do that, that is an option. However, Health B is not slated to be ready until the fall of 2023. So if they're looking for summer, that would have to be next summer after their 11th grade year. And they would need to talk to their counselor if that is a good recommendation for them to do that. All right, and then last we have child development. We have a preschool at Wootton. We have 10 children who come to us for their preschool program. Students are given a 6-week training at the beginning of the year. And then once our preschool opens in October, they're placed into a small teaching group. And they will rotate between planning for 1 week. They'll plan and prepare all the activities for the preschoolers. They will then rotate and teach and implement all the activities they planned. And then the following week, they observe the preschoolers and complete observation assignments based on our learnings in the first 6 weeks of school. This is going to be a class with no homework, no tests, no quizzes. It's going to, all their points will come from working with the children, planning the activities from the children, as well as their observation assignments. Child Development 1 is our entry-level class. After that, we have Child Development 2, which some of your students may be in. This is an advanced level class. It still has this SSL hours, and it does come with that industry certification. It's a Maryland State certification saying the students have 2 years experience working with children. We have preschools and daycares in the area that are looking for high school students to work part-time after school or in the summer. And they do only want to talk to our students with the certification. So it is a nice free perk that comes along with the class. And then some of the students going into 11th grade would be ready for guided research. That's going to bridge us into more topics related to elementary and middle school education. So a little more concentrated on education and not just children in general. I think that's all I have. I will check the chat for questions. And if there's nothing for me, then I will pass that over to Dr. James Fetterman for world languages.
Okay, thank you, Ms. O'Neill. As Ms. O'Neill mentioned, I am James Fetterman. I am the World Languages Resource Teacher. Tonight, I'll be talking to you about our course offerings for the upcoming school year, as well as the Maryland Seal of Biliteracy and some other additional considerations for graduation and beyond. So the primary and recommended course option for next year would be to continue with whatever language of study that your child is currently enrolled in. This is the recommended pathway because it allows them to continue developing those language skills and to attain a higher level of proficiency. This means that they'll have more communicative skills, the ability to communicate with real people in real world situations. Second option would be, for whatever reason, if your child decides that they want to switch the language that they are currently studying and take another year of a new language, they could do that. Or they could also add an additional language of study. So they could enroll in their current language of study and the level 1 course of a new language as an additional elective if they so choose. The graduation requirements for rising juniors are 2 credits of a world language. However, your child is strongly recommended to take at least 4 credits of a world language in high school, especially if they are university bound, meaning they want to attend a 4-year college or university. This not only demonstrates to potential university admissions officers that they're willing to embrace rigor, but it also allows them to attain a meaningful level of proficiency in the language where, again, they're able to communicate in real world situations. Additionally, it would provide them the opportunity to join one of our world language honor societies that we have in Spanish, French, and Chinese, and also the potential opportunity to earn the Maryland Seal of Biliteracy and also university credits should they continue on to one of our AP courses. I'll briefly talk about the Maryland Seal of Biliteracy, what it is and why it's valuable and how they can earn it. So the Maryland Seal of Biliteracy is a designation that is awarded by the state of Maryland at graduation, and it attests that students are proficient in English and one or more other languages. This can be a language that they have learned through one of our programs here at school, or it can be a language that they speak at home. Students who earn the Seal of Biliteracy receive a medal to wear at graduation, as well as the Seal of Biliteracy imprinted on their diploma. And this communicates to anyone, but especially university admissions officials and potential employers, that the student is able to communicate and function in those two languages. And it is a nationally normed and recognized exam, so it communicates this in a very official manner. Students who are a junior and senior who are enrolled in level 4 or higher are eligible to take a test in the late fall, early winter. And if they earn a qualifying score, they can earn the seal. So this might be another rationale or reason why your child might want to continue on to an upper level language course beyond the one that they are currently enrolled in. And additionally, if your child is enrolled in an AP course and they score a 4 or 5 on that AP language exam, they will automatically receive the Seal of Biliteracy at graduation. These are all the languages in which we offer courses. They are American Sign Language, or ASL, Chinese, French, Latin, and Spanish. You'll notice that all of the courses that are labeled 3 and higher, with the exception of ASL, are advanced or honors level courses that offer students the opportunity to earn additional points on their weighted GPA. So those are all the courses you see labeled H for honors, AL for advanced level, and AP for advanced placement. The course sequencing for ASL, Chinese, and Latin is fairly straightforward. It's sequential in numerical order. So this year, if they are enrolled in ASL 2, next year they would enroll in ASL 3. If they are in Chinese 4, for example, this year, next year they would enroll in Chinese 5. And same for Latin. If they're in Latin 3 this year, next year they would enroll in Latin 4. For French and Spanish, the sequencing is a little bit different because we have additional courses at the upper level that offer multiple pathways for students to attain that meaningful proficiency. So for French, the course sequencing is as follows. It's levels 1 to 4, very straightforward. If they're in level 4 this year, they have the option to enroll in either French 5 or AP French Language and Culture. And the same is true if they are in if they're in French 5 this year, they can also enroll in AP French Language and Culture. And this is true for both of the French 5 options that we offer this year. At the upper level, we have AP French, and then we also have French 5, 6, and 7, which is an intentionally combined course on French cinema. So students will watch and view and analyze the same films, but the instruction is differentiated for their proficiency level, and the expectations are respective of their level of competency. For Spanish, the sequencing is fairly similar. It is levels 1 through 5, followed by AP Spanish Language and Culture. Additionally, if they are in one of our upper level courses, they have the opportunity and looking forward towards senior year to continue beyond AP Spanish Language and Culture to either our AP Spanish Literature class or our Spanish 7 course. So the course sequencing is probably slightly different from French and Spanish. If they have older siblings, it has been streamlined and reduced to ensure that our students are attaining a meaningful level of proficiency. So make sure to follow these charts that are also available on the course sequencing, on the course bulletin. So again, for ASL, Chinese, Latin, the course sequencing is sequential in numerical order. For French and Spanish, it's fairly similar with additional offerings at the upper level. And one last thing I'll mention is that this past year, 98% of our students enrolled in our AP courses, that's AP French, AP Chinese, and both of the Spanish AP courses that we offer, earned credit via scoring a 3 or higher on their AP exam. So this is just a testament to our program and our students who are attaining a really high level of proficiency on their exams, and in the real world being able to communicate with people in our community and studying abroad and traveling and as a bilingual future employer. And additionally, about 3/4 of our students who take our AP exam are earning automatically the seal of biliteracy by, again, scoring a 4 or higher on their AP exam. I will just briefly check the chat to see if there are any questions. Doesn't look like there are. So with all that said, I'll pass it off to Ms. White, our resource teacher for mathematics.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fetterman. I'm just going to get my screen up and ready. Okay, save the best for last, right? Math, yeah, anybody? My name is Miss Kayla White, and I am the math resource teacher here at Wootton High School. I'm going to talk a little bit about just making sure we know our math graduation requirements and then course options for your last 2 years of high school. So in general, there we go. Students must have 4 math credits in order to graduate. 2 of those credits must come from Algebra 1 and Geometry. Usually by 11th grade, most of our folks have gotten those 2 courses out of the way, but you do still need 2 courses left. So you must be enrolled in a math course all 4 years of your high school experience, even if you did take an Algebra 1 or Geometry course in middle school. So yes, you will be in math for all 4 years. There is a state testing requirement after Algebra 1, but we will take care of that following the completion of the course. And if for some reason your student has not yet taken that state testing requirement, we have makeup sessions in which we will make sure they do that. So looking at our course flowchart for math, this sequence is available on our Wootton course registration bulletin in the math section. It can be a little bit overwhelming, especially in junior and senior year. You're going to be kind of towards this right side of this diagram. So I'm going to kind of break it down to be a little less complicated. But what might be helpful is to take a look of what course you are currently in and see all the arrows for options as you think about what you are going to take for 11th and 12th grade. I do suggest you kind of think of the next 2 years together because we do have some courses where we recommend them as almost seniors only because there wouldn't necessarily be an appropriate course to take after. So I'm just going to make sure I talk about that when we talk about your next 2 years. So I tried to narrow this down to just be what course you are currently in. So as a 10th grader, if you are in geometry, you are going to look at these pale yellow row. If you are currently in an Algebra 2 course, whether honors or on level, you would look at this kind of gold row. If you are currently in a pre-calculus class, you would look at this pinkish salmon row. And if you are a sophomore in a calculus class already, you would kind of look at this bottom blue row. Things that I just want to point out is that from geometry, you kind of have a pretty clear path. You could take either our regular Algebra 2 course, which would set you up to take either a pre-calculus class or a statistics class during your senior year. Or if geometry has been a little bit of a struggle and you think you would benefit from a slower speed and just kind of some more balance in your school life dynamic, then we also have a 2-year algebra course that would take you over your next 2 years. If you are in Algebra 2, we have 2 options for you now. And this is where you might want to start thinking about what you are interested in pursuing as either a major or a career. If you are going into a STEM field, engineering, math, science, technology, you will most likely need calculus in college. So if you are in Algebra 2 now, it would probably make most sense to take pre-calc in 11th grade and then one of our calculus classes in 12th grade. If you already know that STEM is not necessarily where you see yourself, if you're going to go to law school, if you're going to be a psychologist, taking a statistics class would probably be more beneficial for your college major and career choices. So we have an honors stat class and an AP stat class, and those could fill your remaining 2 math courses. So do not feel like you have to do the pre-calculus calculus route. I feel like that is the more commonly one discussed, but we do have an honors stat followed by AP stat path as well. Similarly, or if you are in pre-calculus now, it would probably make most sense to take a calculus course in your junior year and then take a statistics course in your senior year. But if taking calculus is something that is not interesting to you, you could take that honors stat and then AP stat route. And if you are, I know there's just a couple 10th graders who are in a calculus class already, I would probably further your calculus knowledge in 11th grade, and then that would set you up to take AP stat as a senior. So hopefully this gives, I know it's not all of the options, but gives you a picture of your next 2 years. Things really to consider, again, is just as you're getting to kind of those last 2 years of high school is where you see yourself after school and what's going to be most helpful to you. If you are going to do engineering, please don't take a statistics course. You want to stick with that calculus pathway. And then otherwise, if your friends are all taking calculus, that doesn't necessarily mean statistics isn't the best option for you. So those are our choices we have for your kind of remaining 2 years. As I mentioned, that doesn't, this flow chart is a little more thorough, but here I would say are the most common pathways. Just last thoughts. When thinking about honors versus regular or even AP, obviously our honors and AP classes are faster paced, more rigorous, probably have a slightly higher outside of class requirement in terms of homework each night, and just this the expectations that if you're in an AP or honors course, it might require some more kind of independent thought, study groups with friends, making sure that you are prepared for assessments with a true deep understanding of the knowledge. If you are interested in looking at course average homework times, those are listed in our course bulletin. I also really recommend, even though we don't give official recommendations, that you reach out to your current math teacher. Between student, parent, and math teacher, I think those 3 voices are really important in making that decision as you move along next year. Your current math teacher will have a really good idea of what might be best for you because they obviously know how successful you have been in the course you are currently in. After saying this, I think now like several times, I've had lots of parents and students reach out by email for questions, so feel free to do that. If it's a more personal question, I can definitely respond and get back to you, or you can pop by in person and we can chit chat about kind of your best options for the next few years. But with that, I think, oh yes, I can describe the difference between AB and BC Calc. So AB Calculus is Calc 1. So in college, courses are just by semester. So if you take Calculus AB and you earn a 4 or 5 on the exam, some colleges would accept that as you have taken 1 semester of college calculus. Calc BC does Calc 1 and Calc 2 combined. So it moves at a fast pace because it covers double the amount of material. We have students who take AB first and then take BC. So they would get the Calc 1, and then in BC, they would almost get like a review of the Calc 1, and then that added Calc 2 piece added on. Or if you are an honors pre-calculus, you could jump right to Calc BC. So I teach Calc BC now, and I have a mix. I have some students who came from honors pre-calculus and some students who came from calculus AB, but they're hoping to earn those 2 semesters of college calculus credit. The other thing is that for your score for the AP exam, Calc BC, you actually get 2 scores. So you get an AB score and a BC score. So if for some reason you did not get a 4 or 5 on the BC part, you could still potentially earn AB credit. So I've had students who got a 3 as their BC score, but a 5 as their AB score. So they would still be eligible for that 1 Calc 1 credit, even if they maybe needed to retake Calc 2 in college. Okay. With that, I don't think there's much more for me. I'm not sure who I'm passing this back to though. So Miss Levy.
You're passing it back to me. Thank you so much, Ms.
You're
White, for
welcome.
all of that information. Before we wrap up, I do have a video from Miss Michelle Hansen, who is our Humanities and Arts Coordinator. She actually is speaking about our AP Capstone program. So I am going to share my screen now. So it's my sound. And
hi there, my name is Michelle Hansen and I'm the Signature Program Coordinator at Wootton. And what I'd like to do tonight is tell you a little bit about our AP Capstone program that we are offering to the entire student body. The program has actually been at Wootton for a few years, but we piloted it through the Humanities and Arts and STARS programs. Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about the program. As you can see, it's something offered through College Board, and they call it the AP Capstone Diploma Program. Now, in order to achieve the capstone, the students are required to take a course called AP Seminar, and then the follow-on course, which is called AP Research. And there's a better description of these in the course bulletin if you want to take a look there. But essentially, AP Seminar, we teach students how to do high-level research and report on it. And in AP Research, we actually do that in a year-long project of the student's choice. Now, in order to get the diploma, the students must also take 4 other AP classes and exams and pass them. And if they take the capstone classes and the 4 other classes and pass everything, then they will have earned the AP Capstone Diploma. It is the highest distinction that College Board gives to students in the United States. Now, let me go ahead and tell you the parameters. Anyone may take the AP Capstone classes. Typically, seminar starts in 11th grade and AP Research is in 12th grade. However, if students who are in 9th grade have taken an AP course, such as AP Government or AP Computer Science Principles, they're also eligible to take the AP Seminar class in 10th grade. And let's see, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I will say typically AP Seminar is a great class to start in 11th grade. And as you can see here, there are many benefits from being part of this. I think one of the biggest benefits is that students are able to work at a really high level before they get to college. So by the time they get there, they hit the ground running and they typically have no problems whatsoever writing papers and doing research. So the other thing I really like about this program is that it's also a lot about student choice. Students are able to pick what they study. We teach them how to study it, and then they actually pick what they study. So just so you know, we do let colleges know that students are AP Capstone Diploma candidates. And last year we had 50 students at Wootton graduate with this diploma. So we're pretty excited about that. If you need more information, you can always get a hold of me. My information is at the bottom of the screen. I am also on the Wootton website, and you can check out the pages in the course bulletin. Thank you so much.
okay, I see that we have a question in the chat. Okay, so the question is, I see that the students have requirements for NGSS Earth and Space System. Can you let me know which course they should take? That is a very good question. I do not have the answer to that. I will make sure that if I can send you a message on Zoom. If you could share with me your email address, I will provide this question for Mr. Thompson. Also, if you go to the course bulletin and go to the science section, you would also be able to access Mr. Thompson's email by clicking the banner. But we will make sure that someone gets back to you so that we can answer that question for you moving forward. I also see that Miss Beanstock is also typing an answer as well. But we will also make sure that you get in touch with, that we have Mr. Thompson get in touch with you. Okay. I just want to thank you for joining us this evening. Within the next couple of days, you can expect the recording from this evening to be posted to the Wootton website. Within that recording, you'll also you'll be able to go back and take a look at some of the information. There's a lot of information regarding all of our programs on the course bulletin page, as well the digital course bulletin, where you're going to be able to hopefully get the majority, if not all, of your questions answered, so that you can have and your child can have a successful 11th grade year next year. Right. We will stay on for a couple more minutes if you have any additional questions that you might have for me or Mr. Nelson, but have a good evening.
Thanks so much, Miss Lady. Yep. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.